Hi, everybody. Welcome to Talking Books with Tanisha. I am going to talk to you about a book today that is a sequel or a spinoff, actually, of a book that I read a couple months ago. Sorry, a couple years ago. Happily Ever Afters by Elise Bryant was the book that I read then. It's a similar cover. You can kind of see how it's like so kind of a way in which Elise Bryant makes her covers that are pretty similar, but also give you hints to what the story is going to be about. Happily Ever Afters was about Tessa and her kind of quest to find true love and her kind of setting up a website and kind of meeting unexpected love and having an interracial relationship that really tested, I think, her idea of what it meant to be in a relationship with somebody, but also have someone who shows up for you and who really kind of is like an ally and also like accomplice in a relationship in a way that I think, in a way, felt really sweet, very kind. And in that book, Tessa meets a bunch of different friends. And her closest friends is one of the people that are featured in this new book that I'm reading and talking about today. And the character that's featured in this book is Lenore. And you're actually going to find some really similar characters, like so some of the same characters that were in Happily Ever Afters are also in One True Loves. Lenore's story, and she was the one who's a little bit eccentric. She was an artist, like a visual artist, pretty much could do anything with any kind of art medium. And Tessa was drawn to her, and they became really good friends in a space where Tessa was brand new in a school, didn't really know anybody. And Lenore wrapped her in around in her friendship along with other characters in that story. For this story, Lenore is in a semi-relationship, the kind of relationship that no one really talks about in public because maybe it's being kept a secret, and maybe it's being kept a secret by the person that she's seeing because they have not told other people they have relationships with her, and they're actually seeing other people, which means that Lenore's always on the second, like always kind of second thought and not first thought. But she's willing to do that and willing to accept that because she seems to like this person so much until she realizes what it's costing her. She decides to kind of give away, the idea of love for right now and to kind of focus on herself. Her friend Tessa is very much wrapped up in a possibility of what a romantic love could be for Lenore. Lenore is a high achieving student. Her parents have very high expectations of her and all of her siblings. And for the most part, she reaches all those expectations. Like she gets accepted into really prestigious school. She is, on her route to being an artist, but hasn't necessarily narrowed down what exactly she wants to do. And she's getting pressure from her family to do that. And she's kind of wondering if she has to do that. That's one storyline that's happening in this book. And so for anybody who's a high achiever, have friends that are higher achievers that feel pressure around to kind of be perfect, you might find this book resonates with you. It also is talking about what relationships are and what love is. And Lenore's kind of given up the idea that maybe love is for her. And then and she meets someone on a Mediterranean cruise. So her family decides to take a cruise, and there's other secrets that are happening in the family kind of start popping up throughout the book. But one of the things that happens in this story is that Lenore meets someone, and she kind of like wants to do a fake relationship just to kind of see how it goes. They make an agreement. It's really about the guy approaching her to kind of be her fake girlfriend. And she's kind of like, I'm over it. No, thank you. I don't want to do that. Um, but in the meantime, they start spending time together. And you know how rom-coms go, they end up kind of finding things that they find commonly interested. This book goes a different direction, so probably isn't going to go the way you think it's going to go. But I think is actually pretty interesting. It makes it intriguing. It makes you want to keep reading. What I really appreciate about this book is that the Mediterranean cruise becomes alive for all of us. So we have a chance to kind of see what cruise life is like. We have a chance to see the different stops on the cruise that they take. So they go to Spain, they go to Italy, there's some time in Greece. And they are really good about, giving you specificity around the locations and different things you can experience while you're there. So for those of you who are wanting to do a little summer vacation, maybe do a Mediterranean cruise of your own, this is a great way for you to get a preview of that and to see what those stories, like what those travels are like. Um, Elise Bryant is a great author. I've read a few of her books now, and I recommend them for everyone. Like I feel like getting books by Elise Bryant just kind of allow you to kind of go into a world that makes you think. There are no really easy questions or answers around it. The books that you've heard me read are, like I mentioned, Happily Ever Afters. This one is called One True Loves, and Reggie and Delilah's Year of Falling, which I really, really like. And you're going to see characters of Reggie and Delilah also in One True Loves. And so if you remember, that's the one where Reggie is kind of like an undercover nerd, like a little blurred into comic books and all that kind of stuff. And Delilah is actually like a rock singer, and both of them are trying to kind of hide the real truth of who they are when really the who true they are is really perfect for each other. And so you're going to see representation of those characters also in One True Loves. For those of you who are Elise Bryant fans and you've read Happily Ever Afters and you've read Reggie and Delilah's Year Falling, this is putting it all together. One True Loves brings all the characters together in a really fun way, but it centers on Lenore's story, and that's really good for us to see. This is a great book for mid-teens, adults, of course, like YA is great for any age. There isn't a lot of like, super vulgar or anything scenes. There is language though, so just be aware there's language in there if you're trying to think about what kind of books to put in the hands of like the youth or other people in your life. There is pretty significant swearing. But Elise Bryant kind of, I think, writes the ways in which she hears youth talk, and so it feels kind of realistic. But it also is very sweet. It's a really sweet story. It's very much a story based for artists, for travelers, for people who are just looking for love, looking for really strong relationships, and looking for friendship. I hope that you will get your own copy of One True Loves. I hope that you'll find other books by Elise Bryant that maybe interest you. And thank you for tuning in today. My name is Tanisha. This is Talking Books with Tanisha. I hope you enjoyed this. Share this and like it. I'm getting my summer dump together really soon, my book dump for the summertime. Some oldies and some newsies will be coming in, and I'll be sharing some of those. In the meantime, keep reading and share books with your friends. And don't forget, like, subscribe, and share. Thanks for coming in today, and I hope you continue reading.